are the sons of God. And as many as receive him, to them gave he what? Power! Shall be above or not beneath. Not with silver or gold, but with his precious blood.
Over 40 years of authentic, life-changing ministry. Bishop Dr.Al Baxter.
Hello there. Welcome to Proactive Straight Talk. I'm Dr. Al Baxter as usual. And you know, my friends, I try to come to you from time to time with a word on my YouTube channel. A word that I believe is informative, a word that can make a difference if you pay attention. I'm going to ask you to share this word that I will bring to you today with your friends. And furthermore, continue to go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Al Baxter Online, Dr. Al Baxter Online, and subscribe. Click the subscribe button and also the notification bell so that whenever I post something, you can be notified. I really would appreciate that, and let's keep together. Today, I want to talk to you from my heart, because you see, we have embarked upon a time that is unprecedented on the planet Earth. We have never seen a time like this. Yes, never. It's a time of what I call conflict, a time of confusion, and a time of coronavirus. It's a time when men's hearts are failing them for fear. We've never seen anything like this. Oh, there has been viruses and coronaviruses in the past. There has been other kinds of pandemics in the past, but nothing like this. This is highly contagious and it is very deadly. Furthermore, this coronavirus seems like they can't find a cure. There's no vaccine, there's no cure, there is nothing that they know what to do. They tell you one thing today and tomorrow that was just off the top of their head. It doesn't make sense. Confusion. This virus is causing problems, a lot of problems. So where do we go from here? What do we do at this time? What should the people on earth do? Sweat it out, wait it out? Or should we just go ahead like some of the people that I have noticed, just forget about it? If I get it, I get it. One fellow even said, if I get it, I get it. And if I die, somebody said to him, but you may die. He said, if I die, I die. I don't care. I don't think everyone can say that, and I don't think everyone needs that. Certainly everyone is not ready to meet your maker. And until you're ready to meet your maker, not really smart to say, if I die, I die. Because if you die and you're not ready to meet the maker, not good. Let's talk. Coronavirus. I was doing a little bit of a study, looking on where the church fits in, because from a youngster, 18 years old, I have been in church. Not just in church, but church life is my life. I know nothing else. I have no clue of anything else. 18 years old boy I was, and I came to Jesus. And I gave my life wholeheartedly. I didn't just join church. I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have come this far. I gave all. And I accept the Lord and His way in my life. So I don't know anything else. That's why whenever I talk, I have to talk church. I have to talk God. I have to talk heaven, because I know nothing else. Never been involved in anything else. So let's talk a little bit about where the church is at and what should the church do. There is a coronavirus guidance for churches that I've just read something about. I share it with you because as you remember that sometime in March, the order was given here in Canada that all places of worship must be closed down, shut down, and people should go home and stay home. Fortunately for most church people, the Zoom platform is a platform given to us as a tool that we can use to kind of meet digitally, not personally, but we meet and we have church. However, this week the Premier of Ontario announced that churches can be open at 30% volume, 1/3 of capacity. So if you have a church that seats 300 people, 100 can go to church at a time. Some churches will have to move to 2-3 services if they're going to get all their people churched. So it's a little bit of a confusion there, but people are working it out. It's not a problem. On May 24th of this year, some churches, the mosque, Muslim mosque and synagogues, they implemented a drive-in worship. Drive-in. You know, my friends, when I read that, I was taken aback because I'm saying, is that what it comes to? Drive-in worship? We know of drive-in fast foods, drive-in this, drive-in that, but it comes to drive-in worship. We need to take these things seriously because believe me when I tell you that can't be of God. When Jesus was here, he instituted church. And by church, I mean people getting together, like in a house or in a place, in a building called a synagogue or a temple or something. They get together for, as iron sharpens iron, so they counsel one towards another, and they get together and they have church. But now it comes to that they have to have church in their car, like they go to a drive-in movie and sit in their car and each person watch the movie up there. Not much of a church that for me, at least not where I come from. But these things are happening. So we notice that the Canadian Council of Christian Churches has called for places of worship to be included in reopening. And that is a few weeks back when they were opening this and opening that, but no mention of churches. So they called for that. The Christian Legal Fellowship and the Evangelical Fellowship of Canada also sent a letter to the Ontario Premier Doug Ford calling for religious organizations to be part of the province's reopening plan. Fact is that just recently we noticed that the President of the United States, President Donald Trump, just recently on May 22nd, he called for all local churches to be reopened, and for that matter, all places of worship, no matter what they are, to be reopened and start operating. Some of his aides and some of the people pushed back and said that that is not wise, he shouldn't be doing that, but he said these places should be designated as essential services and therefore they should be open up. Whether his motive is political or whether it's genuine, hardly matters. What matters is that he called for church to be opening. But something struck me in that is that his calling for churches to be open up has not taken into consideration that the coronavirus, especially in the United States, has taken the lives of tens of thousands of people, over 100 and I believe 16,000 up to date. And it is just probably not wise for people to be rushing into groups and into crowds without thinking about their health, about the health of their loved ones and the people that they have to mingle with when they go home. So it's one thing to rush into church and mingled, but I look at what Deborah Briggs, who is the White House messaging person. She's the administration's coronavirus response coordinator, and she pushed back on the president and said, perhaps if your health is not up to par, you shouldn't be meeting like that. Even the press secretary, who is always very sharp, Kayleigh McEnany, she also acknowledged that it probably should be up to the governors to make the call. Something that we need to look into. And that's why we at Faith Miracle Temple are moving cautiously, but I'll come to that. I also read something that the Catholic churches in England said that they should be allowed to reopen before other churches. Confusion, conflicts. They should be allowed to be reopened before other churches. They said because of their way of worship. So they should be allowed to be open before Pentecostal churches or mosques, owing to their different style of worship. The leader of the Catholic Church in England and Wales said we should be allowed to open before. Now, assuming that their way of worship is different, why not say, well, we'll open up last? I mean, come on. But the confusion continues. The WHO, which is the World Health Organization, cautioned against further lifting of lockdown in England. They have been giving conflicting directions and directives since the day this thing started. The WHO have not really given a clear-cut understanding of what to do, because they don't know what to do either. They themselves are baffled over these things. So England coronavirus lockdown should not be further lifted until the government's contact tracing system has proven to be robust and effective. Contact tracing system. Fact is that this is what I'm trying to get across to many people. If you were to contract the virus today, you may not have symptoms and you may mingle with many people. Maybe before you feel a symptom, you may have mingled with 100 people who may have gotten, at least a part of that 100 people, a number of them may have gotten that virus from you and gone about their ways, spreading it to other people. Very difficult situation. So the tracing system, the contact tracing system in England is not yet proven to be robust and effective, and they are saying, let it be robust and effective. Now, we at Faith Miracle Temple, I'm the Bishop of Faith Miracle Temple, City Church in Toronto, one of the church that love builds a community-based church, a church that has stood the test of time over the last 40 years in the city of Toronto. has served the community, both the saved and the unsaved, a church that prepares people to go to heaven, not just to come to church and live on the planet. We are not preparing people to live down here. We are preparing people to go to heaven. That's why we don't preach a whole lot about God is getting ready to make you a millionaire and all that. That's good. You need to be made a millionaire. We don't have anything against that. But our calling is to prepare you, get you ready for the kingdom of God. Because know it or not, this world is not our home, and Jesus is coming soon. And when he comes, remember what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 25. He said, the kingdom of heaven is like unto 10 virgins who took their lamps and their vessels and went to meet the bridegroom. But the bridegroom tarried, and it seemed right now like Jesus tarried. And there are those who, according to the scripture, they say, oh, from the days of our fathers, we hear that Jesus is coming, he's coming. Things have been the same way, nothing have changed, so who cares? There are those who don't care about, or at least not paying enough attention to going to heaven. They are looking on, making it down here, make it big, have money, have house and lands and status. But my friends, the fact is that the status that we really need is to be ready for the kingdom of God. For he shall come in a day when we think not, in an hour when we think not. For the same Matthew 25 say, at midnight there was a cry made. The bridegroom tarried, and they all slumbered and slept. But at midnight there was a cry made, behold, the bridegroom comes. Go ye out to meet him. And all the virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. But the foolish, who were only making preparation to live a good life down here, they soon find that they could not meet the bridegroom because they have no lamps. They have no oil in their lamps, so they couldn't trim their lamps. They couldn't shine when Jesus comes. They couldn't shine. And we need to be able to shine when he comes. So that's why I teach. So we at Faith Miracle Temple, we want to find a balance between two very important realities. The first reality is our need to come together as a church, to meet and sharpen each other, to meet and show love and encouragement to each other, to be there for each other, to give to each other, to bless each other, to pray for each other. We need to meet. It makes a difference. We're a family. But there's another reality, and that is the health matter. We must be attentive to the health and well-being and safety of our members. So we have these two realities. Meet, yes, but how do we make sure that our members are healthy? I pity the poor pastor who, because of maybe carelessness, allow his members to come to church and just socialize and say, God is bigger than Corona. Sure, God is bigger than Corona, but wisdom must prevail. I'm sorry for that kind of pastor who soon found out that his members have contracted coronavirus. Some got very sick, some died, and the pastor himself in some cases died. So we need to find that balance. So my son, Pastor Mark, who is now the senior pastor of Faith Miracle Temple, he and I are entering into discussions to make sure that we have a good handle on how we invite people to come and receive a blessing from the Lord. We're also talking about, my wife and I have discussed this on many occasions, and people that I talk to from time to time, we don't want to go back to church for more of the same. And you shouldn't either. You shouldn't want to just rush back to church for more of this same. We have had 3 months home. 3 months should be a time of reflection, a time of self-evaluation and self-examination. We should take a good look at ourselves and take a look at the Bible and see whether we fit those words that are written there. Except your righteousness exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Words such as, if you do good to them that do good to you, what difference does that make? Are you not the same as the scribes and Pharisees? They do the same thing. They love those who love them. They do good to them to those who do good to them, and they give to those who give to them. See, so we need to take a look at ourselves and see if somebody crosses us, if somebody rubs us the wrong way, despitefully use us, persecute us, and say manner of evil against us. How do we react? And never mind how do we react, how do we feel on the inside towards that person? Are those people who do that? How do we feel on the inside? How do we see them? How do we react to them? That's important. Jesus' word. Righteousness exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, then we're not fit for the kingdom. So at Faith Miracle Temple, we are looking into all these things, and when we open up and get back, hopefully next Sunday, when we get back, we should be a people that is endued with uncommon power, anointing, discipline, love. We should be endued with strength, that we can get over anything, we can forgive anything. Anything and everything, we should be able to forgive it. I don't care what it is. I want to ask you a question today. Where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line and say, this is as much as I would take? If anybody do this, that's it. It's over. I would not take that. Because if you have a line that you draw, neighbor, you have to come again. You have to start over fresh. There should be no line that you draw. There should be nothing that could come your way on this earth, whether it be from hell, from demons, or from men. There should be nothing that can come your way that you can't get over, because God said, my grace is sufficient for you. And there is no temptation that taketh a man that is not common to all men. But God is faithful, and he will with the temptation make a way for you to escape. God will not give you more than you can bear. He will not allow more than you can handle. So what is this that you draw a line and say, that's it? Not going any further than that. If my wife does this, it's over between me and her. If my husband does that, it's over between me and him. If the church member do me this, that's it. Not going back to that church. Or if somebody does me something at work, well, that's a little different. Most people, you can walk on them at work. They will still be going back because the money, you know. Well, let me not go there today. But we want to go back not as we were. Not for more of the same. We need to go back with a vision, with a revelation, with a new idea, how to do things, how to worship differently, in spirit and in truth, how to lay hands on the sick is healed, how to speak a word of knowledge and of wisdom, how to get over anything and everything, how to even act as though we did not notice that somebody took our coat. Our cloak, we just put the coat same place, let them have it. How, when we are insulted, we did not even act like we know that that was an insult. Just be like Jesus. I wonder if we are there yet. We need to thrive towards that. So at Faith Miracle Temple, we're talking about all these things, we're looking at these things, and we're praying about these things, and we're going back to look for not just sweet talk and entertainment. We are going back to look for the power of God so that we can foil the devil, because he's coming big and bad in these last days, and he's coming to deceive. So I was reading something in the book of Timothy 3, and it says in verse starting at verse 1, this you know also, that in the last days perilous time shall come. Perilous time, that's the day we are living in. Boasters, people become proud. Blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. That's what men are like in these last days. Without natural affection, everything nowadays is linked to something else. If you see two people are friendly, it's linked to something else. Natural affection is not natural, but we should be kindly affectionate one towards another. Natural affection. But here it says, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, disobedient, are despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. And you know, neighbor, right now, I dare say that most churches will not be able to have more than an hour service. An hour, you got to cram everything in there and get it over with and get the people out of there. But in the same time that we are in now, you let there be a social of any kind, whether it's a wedding or this or that. If people don't mind spending 3, 4, 5, 6 hours at a social, no problem. And when it comes to church, it's boring. I want to go. I don't want to stay in here for more than an hour. The mask, I can't keep it on. They say it makes my face sweaty and I'm allergic to it, and all kinds of excuses. Neighbor, let me tell you something. If you can't keep on a little mask on your face for your own protection and the protection of those that you are with, what kind of Christian are you? If you can't put up with that, the discomfort of it for a little bit, an hour and a half maybe. If you can't put up with that, how are you going to put up with the harsh realities of the things that will come? That's why a lot of people are going to compromise and just go with the flow. Just go along to get along. Whatever they say, whatever is going on, count me in. I'm a part of that. Well, neighbor, these are the days. You know, I think 2 weeks ago, my son, Pastor Mark, asked me publicly on the Zoom line. He said, Dad, what would you say to young people nowadays who, having seen the atrocities in the United States of the killing of George Floyd and killing of black people and the racism and the protesting and all kinds of atrocities, what do you say to young people? And young black people that are in this country, Canada, where there is a lot of racism. In England, there is racism. As a matter of fact, in most countries of the world, racism, and the racism is stronger against black people more than any other people on the planet. So what do you say to them? And I said to him, my son, all I can say to them is, fear God, walk with God. Let God be your guide. Let him be your all in all. But you know, after that meeting was over, I got me thinking that we are going to have to say more to our young people. And I would employ every parent, black parent, to make it your point of duty to have a serious talk with your youngsters. And the talk you need to have with them is, be respectful to the policeman. Every last one, the bad, the good, the ugly, every last one. Be respectful. Get a good education. Let it be your desire to get a good education. Go to school. Don't waste time. Get yourself in a position where you become a person of value. Because I get to find out that there seems to be an unspoken or an unwritten law among the police, and that is the white police in these countries, Western world, and maybe most of the world. Get a record on a black kid as soon as he turns a teenager. Give him a record. Get a police record on him, so that going forward, if he has a police record, he can't become anything of value. He can't run for parliament. He can't get high up on the ladder. So you always have to keep at a certain level. I see that happening. I don't say that I've read that in some statute of law in the government. No, I have not. And I can't say some policeman has said to me that this is what we do. No. I'm just saying from the looks of things and how it appears, if a young black guy is driving a car, a half-decent car, for no good reason, policemen stopped him. I remember when my son Mark was growing up, just got married very young at age 21, and he was growing up, and I gave him a Mercedes-Benz for his wedding present, and he was driving from church home one night, and police look in his car and see that was a young black boy driving a Mercedes-Benz, and the police followed him, drove behind him all the way, and he turned off the straight way to just say, let me see if this police is really following me. And the police turned right behind him. Fortunately, it was near home, and he drove straight home. When I look out through my window, there was a police car flashing red lights at my gate. That don't happen in my lifetime. I don't allow that. So I got up quickly and went outside, but before I got out there, the police drive off. But before the police drive off, it was a lady police. She called my son boy. And when Mark said, I didn't do anything, what are you stopping me for? She said, I will find something. I will find something to charge you for. So that is what happens. And I went to the police station. I took my son and my wife, and I went to the police station and lodged a complaint against that police, because that police came to my gate, flashing red light, and I let them know that I'm a priest in the neighborhood. I've never had a debacle with the police in all my life, excepting for maybe a traffic ticket. Never had a debacle, never go to jail, never had any problem with any police. No red light is supposed to be flashing in front of my door. And more than I'll call my son boy and tell him they will find something against him. These are what we're up against. So if I were to say something more to youngsters, hear my word and hear it good. Every young person should make sure you get a good education. Should be very respectful to police. When they stop you, they ask you for your driver's license, take it out and give. Don't speed, don't break red lights, don't break the law. Just keep to the law. Know this, you are black in a white society, and police officers do not like you in the white society, white police officers. That's a fact. It's hard to state it like that. They might not even like me after this if they see my posting. But it's a fact. It's a fact. If you drive a nice car, they don't like it. If you live in a nice house, they don't like it. If you go into a nice neighborhood, they don't like it. They don't like it. They like you to be on the ground with their knees and your neck. That's a fact. So the time has come when our fight back must be wisdom. We must get a good education, We must be respectful. We must not give a single reason. But in our head, we must have a desire to become the head and not the tail. And the only way we can become the head is to have a good education, focus on being a good person of stature and of affluence. Be intelligent. Speak to the policeman with respect, no matter who he is. Don't get boisterous. Don't get out of order. Maybe you don't do anything at all wrong. No. Get out of the car. Get out, I say. And put your hands behind you. Put your hands on the car. And they start. Just do what they say. Say yes, sir, to them. And take it easy. Because no amount of upset and fighting back in the physical is going to help you. Not going to help you. So just be nice. And you will live and get out of life on the other side, and you will get out right. Let me say this. Young people, remember, a good education, a decent attitude, and most importantly, God. Get God in your life. You don't make it without God. I am a good example of what I'm saying here. My mother left me when I was 3 years old. Little baby boy, don't know nothing. She left me with my dad. My dad died when I was 15 years old. He grew me single-handedly until I was 15. Not just me, my other sibling, but he died when I was only 15. I had to become a man at age 15 years old and look after myself, because there was no uncle, aunt, cousin, brother, sister, nobody to take care of me. At age 15, I became a man, but there was something in me. I had an ambition and I had a mind to be somebody, even at that young age. So I never got into drugs, never got into drinking, never got into fights, never steal anything from anybody. As a young boy, I kept my focus. And by the age 18, Jesus called me. He picks me up and he turns me around and he plants my feet on higher ground and he brought me forward. And for the last 48 years, I lived in Canada for 15 years. I married a beautiful woman, lived with her for the last 48 years. We are still living and loving and moving forward. 4 lovely young men. One of them, as I mentioned from time to time, if you go to the Faith Miracle Temple website, you will see him preaching there from time to time. It's Pastor Mark Anthony Baxter. He's my second son, a profound man of God with a message. Now you need to understand, youth is the time to serve the Lord. Young men, I call upon you because you're strong. So let's see what I will conclude with here. In the book of Galatians 6 and verse 7, it said, be not deceived, because that is what is happening today. Deception. Devil wants you to think that you're okay when you're not. It makes you want to think that it's all right to fight back and throw fists and show your power that way. No. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man sows, that he also reaps. So if you sow good, you reap good. If you sow evil, you reap evil. If you are easily get upset, if you feel like somebody does you wrong and you're going to retaliate, you're going to reap that kind of thing. So just be nice. If you sow niceness, you reap niceness. If you act sometimes like you're weak, don't worry about it. If you turn the other cheek, doesn't mean you're weak. But if you show your strength sometimes in places where you shouldn't, you're only doing hurt to yourself and to those who love you. Whatever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And the word goes on to say, let us not be weary in well doing. Don't be weary in doing well, for in due season you will reap if you faint not. The wise man Solomon wrote in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, he said, remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil day comes not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. If you follow after the way of the evil one, get into trouble, do drugs, follow bad companies, break into people's place, lied about things, steal things, do not pay attention to your schooling. If you do all of that, the evil day will come upon you and your soul will have no pleasure. I am going to ask you again, as young people, please make Jesus your choice. Be intelligent, speak kindly, softly, and respectfully to the policeman, to your parents, even to your peers, to everyone around you. You will get out on the other side. Don't think you're weak because you turn the other cheek. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Solomon said in chapter 12 and verse 13 of Ecclesiastes, he said, fear God and keep his commandment, for this is the whole duty of a man. The whole duty of a man is to fear God and keep his commandment. I don't care what kind of man you are, black man, white man, tall man, short man, whatever man you are, the whole duty of a man is to fear God and keep his commandment. You do that, you can't go wrong. For God shall bring every evil work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. This is important. God shall bring every evil work into judgment. You know, folks, there's so many people ignoring God. But may I say to you, don't ignore God. Don't ignore God. You couldn't come here without him. When you look around you and see how the universe is ordered and everything is in place and work together to make life exist, you must understand there is a God somewhere. And if there is a God somewhere, when you look at yourself, the way you are formed, the way you're made, your organs on the inside, one can't do without the other. Your head, your eyes, your ears, your nose, but more importantly, your intellect, your spirit that cannot be seen, cannot be diagnosed by doctors, but you have that. When you look at all of that, you must know there's a God. And if there's a God, why not gravitate to him? Why not get close to him? If he's powerful enough that he can do all of this around you and do you, why don't you gravitate to him? Whole duty of a man is to fear God, keep his commandment. Today, my friend, is a day of confusion, conflict, and coronavirus. God bless you. Let me pray with you. Father, in Jesus' mighty name, bring someone close to you. Bring someone to the cross. Remove the darkness, let the light shine. Those who are bound, loose them. Those who are in need, supply that need. Those who are sick, heal them. In the name of Jesus, show forth your grace and your glory here on earth. We ask in Jesus' mighty name. My friends, God bless you. You will see my contact coming up at the bottom of this program. Please contact me and always visit me on Facebook or on YouTube, especially my YouTube channel. Do visit me and God will bless you for it. Until next time, Al Baxter saying goodbye, friends.